everyone, my name's Lillian. I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my mid-year favorites. So this is going to be a very different video than normally I do because before or between, I guess, January and the end of June, I read 197 books. So when I had to narrow it down, a lot of people have been like, oh, my 10 favorite reads of 2022 so far, and I was kind of like, I have read five-star reads. I have 62 five-star reads. So I was like, I'm really bad always at picking my favorite books of the month, favorite books of the year. And so I was thinking there's no way I can get 62 down to 10. Absolutely no way. So what I have done is made categories based on genre/age groups, and then narrowed those down to 10, which still meant that I had to go from 62 to 40, but also less than 40 because for certain categories I don't even have 10. So I just want to preface that by saying I've done a lot of very hard work to get to this point, and I'm sorry that this isn't a very clean, my 10 favorite books. If I have a mood where I'm feeling particularly angry or particularly motivated to really kind of cause myself emotional pain, perhaps I will do one of those 10. But for now, I'm going to talk with you about my less than 40 favorite reads of 2022. Normally I do very mini reviews for it, and normally I hold up books. I don't have the books with me because, as I said in a few other videos in the past, I'm kind of traveling all over the place at the moment, and my setups are always so different, so I don't have the books with me, and I also can't really do mini reviews because normally my videos for monthly wrap-ups, if I do 10 mini reviews, are still I think the last one was 12 to 15 minutes. Times that by 4, that's over 40 minutes. I don't think anyone really wants to see me chat about that for 40 minutes. I guess if you want me to, please leave that in the comments below, and I'll try to do a more lengthy breakdown of all of these different categories. But I'm going to be looking at my computer where I have these categories, and I'm just going to go through them and maybe say one sentence about them. I'll do that, one sentence about each book. So the first category I wanted to do was romance reads, and actually I included Neon Gods and Electric Idol. So those are two different books. If you really made me pick which one I liked more, I think I liked Electric Idol more. But anyway, so how do I describe these? I'm going to describe both of them in one sentence. Spicy Greek mythology retellings that feel contemporary but also very complex. The next one is I'm So Not Over You. Second chances meets fake dating about having to reconcile who we are or who we've changed and become someone different in the time in between. So for Count Your Lucky Stars, queer romance, also I'm So Not Over You was also queer. Queer romance for unlikely second chances that bloom into something more. Next is Delilah Green Doesn't Care. Oh, this one was so good. This is also unexpected. Relationships that you don't think will work, but all love takes a conscious choice to make it work. This is going to be so general for all of these. I'm very, very sorry. And then there was A Brush with Love. Super sweet, super precious, dual POV, couldn't figure out who I loved more. Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake. Fresh, unique take on romance genre or romance story. Love Lizzie so much. She's my fave. The Romantic Agenda. First asexual romance main character book I've ever read, great look at reevaluating what a person and what a love means to us. A Lady for a Duke. Queer historical fiction romance tackling grief and forgiveness, second chances, and friends to lovers. The Perfect Crime of Marion Hayes. Letters. Letters in the book. Letters in the book, comma. This is also kind of historical fiction-esque. Historical fiction. So, okay. Historical fiction, romance, letters in the book. Loved seeing the characters bloom over the course of the pages. So those are my romance faves. The next are YA contemporary, and I have 10. First one is Kiss and Tell. Queer boy band, YA contemporary about forgiveness, making mistakes, and holding yourself accountable. Heartbreak Symphony. A book about complex families, immigration, and what it means to love and to be vulnerable. Queen of Tiles. Mystery thriller. So more of a thriller, I guess. Or there's a mystery thriller, Scrabble competition, questionable / perhaps unreliable narrator, never really sure who did it. I mean, you know by the end who did it, but that's 5. See You Yesterday. Groundhog Day / Palm Springs time loop, romance or contemporary story set in college about having the bravery or having the courage to kind of confront what it means to have a chance at a day, or like what it means to seize the day, I guess. Breathe and Count Back to 10. Complex family story about dreams and what it takes to pursue those dreams, and how we can talk about that with our family who may not understand. The next one is A Summer of Bitter and Sweet. Queer, indigenous, contemporary story about friendship and about white passing privilege, about racism, and about coming to terms with your queer identity. Private Label. Dual POV story about with swoony romance about having to confront our dreams and how not how valid, but like how attainable they are and what we will do to make them come true. This Place is Still Beautiful. Dual POV sister story about racism, but also delves deeply into the complexities of family and about like how we deal with racism differently in a family, and how we can come together still about all of that. Hollow Fires. Samira Ahmed, auto by author. Heartbreaking story about Islamophobia and racism. But also about friendship and family and solidarity and justice. TJ Pawar Has Something to Prove. Insightful YA contemporary story about sexism, about body hair, about grooming, about beauty, all of those different things. That still manages to have notes of romance and friendship and family all throughout. The next category is YA fantasy. 1,000 Steps into Night. Angry heroine who is told that she is too loud, too much, too everything, and has to figure out how her curse actually has uses and like can make her stronger and kind of break the sexist mold that she's in. Only a Monster. Amazing book that uses half monster, half human to also explore biracial identity and time travel fantasy monster monster human story with tons of secrets. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. Um, this is a this is a YA fantasy, but YA fantasy story about the strength of community, the strength of our love for our community and our love for our family, and never losing hope. A Blood Scion. Intense, action-packed story about what it takes to rebel and what it means to rebel, and how we shape our own future. Foul Lady Fortune. Foul Lady Fortune, how do I describe this one? Amazing. No. Foul Lady Fortune. Characters so messy, so complex, so precious. Loved the action / fantasy aspects. Didn't predict the ending. A Magic Steeped in Poison. We love tea. No, A Magic Steeped in Poison. Fantastic world building, fantastic magical tea art meets kind of like a competition vibe. I need the sequel right now. Lakeler, Anna Marie McLemore, auto-buy author. This is a story about neurodivergence. It's also a story about queer identities, and it's also a story about friendship and about finding people who can see us for who we are. An Arrow to the Moon. This is Romeo and Juliet meets Chinese mythology, a story about secrets that are sort of inherited in our families and passed down to us, and about trying to forge our own path kind of amidst all of that. Sophie and the Bone Song. Queer YA fantasy story about the power of our own voice, about having to muddle through all of the parental and all of the societal abuse and all of the ways that society tells us, or our parents tell us, that we can't do something or that it has to be a certain way. So it's kind of soul searching story about finding the power of our own voice. Violet Made of Thorns. Morally gray heron who I love forever. We love monstrous girls who have to make difficult and morally questionable choices to survive. Love the prophecy kind of premise of the story, and I definitely need the second one also now. Adult sci-fi fantasy. This one I only had 8. So, only 8. The Cartographers. More mystery than fantasy. Very small fantasy element to it. All about the power of maps and the twisty secrets that we have between family and between friends that feel like family. The Blood Trials. Story about conspiracy and secrets, but also about magical competitions that delivers kind of a Hunger Games meets very intense kind of conspiracy secrets sort of vibe. Seasonal Fears. Lots of high fantasy confusion. Love the characters and how Seasonal Fears really delves into the power of love, our choice to love someone, and them also changing before our eyes. Babel. Amazing. You have to pre-order this, please. I love this book so much. It's become a facet of my personality. But my other one of Babel, as an Asian American and as an Asian American adoptee, the representation in Babel and how Robin has to confront the ways where he's othered and sort of stereotyped and people are racist to him, and also this privilege to be in that society, in the elite society, and not really choosing that for himself. It is just so fantastic. I can't. The one sentence thing, I love this book too much, basically. And there's so much in this book. It's multi-layered, so it's kind of difficult to do in one sentence. Actually, as you've been able to tell from this entire video, all of these books are very difficult to do this one sentence format, but I've committed. So, Bluebird. queer sci-fi. Actually, it's the only sci-fi in this, but queer sci-fi about two characters who are trying to hide their own secrets, but also having to realize that to be true partners, you also have to be vulnerable. And I loved seeing that dynamic evolve. The Final Strife. Flew by, fast paced, action packed, queer fantasy story. Couldn't love the world building and the action. The characters are so precious. The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. Difficult to describe. Oh, by the way, I'll link all the reviews to these books if they're already out in my blog in the description box below, so you can read them. The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. Difficult to describe. Story about You've Got Mail vibes, which is also about having to reevaluate our own perceptions of people, and I loved the supernatural aspect. The Book Eaters. Love Devon so much. Love the main character so much and the questionable choices she has to make for her own survival. This book is about sexism, it's about patriarchy, and it's about what rebellion means to us, like on a personal level as well. Middle grade. I had 6 middle grade. Oh my god, we're close to the end. I had 6 middle grade favorites. Never After the Stolen Slippers. Love the fairy tale voice in the book. It feels very much kind of like someone is reading a fairy tale to you. So love the fairy tale voice. This is a story with a fantastic group of characters, perfect for middle grade readers and for those who liked kind of like an Ella Enchanted kind of vibe, or reevaluated or reimagined takes on sort of fairy tales. Witchlings. Story about finding a place in society, finding a place and self-acceptance within ourselves, and friendship. Winnie Zhang unleashes a legend. Clever and funny all at once. Katie Zhao, middle grade queen. Book about friendship and about having to figure out who we are and our values, like what is important to us versus what's important to our family. Kiki Kalira, Breaks a Kingdom. Great anxiety representation. Love it so much. Great anxiety representation. Love how it stresses the importance of powers that are not necessarily like action-packed to kind of fight. It is action-packed, but not like, oh, I'm going to train to be a warrior. You know, unconventional powers, I guess, in a fantasy middle grade setting. Zachary and Ying and the Dragon Emperor. So funny, so clever, so conscious at the same time, while also being a story about ethics and a story about choosing like what we ourselves will do and what's our actions will do in a system that perpetuates a lot of violence and in like the world as in general. Hanasu and the Ghost Crab Nation. Fantastic sci-fi story about corporations, about misinformation, about rebellion, and also about family. Whew! Okay, that was it. That was all of my favorites. That wasn't also 40, by the way. It was less than 40. I tried to keep it one sentence. I'm very sorry. I know this video is still very long, but I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what some of your favorites for this year so far were. And yeah, let me know if you want kind of more in-depth reviews or more detail about any of these categories or any of these books as a whole. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great reading day, week, month, or year. Bye!